Welcome to another episode of the Siltman Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Battisto. Our guest for this episode is Hunter Garvin. Garvin, he's a Stanford All-American. He's a U23 World Team member for Greco. He won U23 Nationals for both freestyle and Greco, and he recently won U23 Freestyle Pan Ams. Super excited to have him on the show. He's a great guest, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you haven't yet, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on Spotify. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
Are we live or
No, so I normally sometimes I just play it, but I also think it's probably a good idea to talk to people before so they know what they're gonna get into.
yeah? I just want to make sure because I don't want to say anything crazy. Okay, we're
Yeah,
live.
don't say anything crazy because then it's a pain in the rear. I have to go back and edit, and it just takes more time.
Yeah,
But
it's all good, bro.
Yeah. So Hunter, dude, we're again super excited to have you on. How was Colombia?
It was good. By the way, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. But yeah, Colombia was fun. Just got back Sunday night. We left Wednesday morning. It was a lot of fun. It was super cool, and it was even better to do it with my teammates. Daniel Cardenas was at 70 kilos. Tyler Knox was at 65 kilos for Puerto Rico. Couple Stanford card there, and it was a lot of fun doing it with them. And especially I obviously spent more time with Dan because we were on the same team. It was a lot of fun doing it with him, and we were roommates. We shared the same took the same steps all the way through. From training together, and then weight management, and then thankfully winning together, which was super cool, and it was a fun time. Very interesting country. It's very humbling because I was there. I'm like, wow, this looks exactly like what the TV shows make it look like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it was something else. It's like, wow, I mean, not I love it. It's God's creation is beautiful. But it's definitely wow, I'm very grateful I live in America, and just I mean, they love it. I don't. It's not my not my beat to walk to.
Is this your first country that you've gone to outside the U.S., Hunter, or have you been anywhere else?
So last year, I went to France. I guess technically France and Italy, just for beach wrestling.
Nice.
Me, Dan, and Nick just went over there because we've never done it before. I've never been out of the country at that point, and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And it was a super fun trip, especially doing with those guys. And it was a good time. And it was fun beach wrestling, and the community of wrestling out there was amazing. We get there, wrestling, you're not friends with your opponent. And it was super lighthearted because I don't know what beach wrestling is. My first time.
We did it back in the day in Monterey and all those areas.
Really? That's awesome.
Before it became a sport.
Yeah. That's sick. But yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time.
Good. So you know Timmy Boxen.
Yeah, he's the man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's super awesome.
We wrestled a little bit together at Cal State Bakersfield before he transferred to University of Northern Colorado. But we talk I don't know, once every good while. But he actually came up to Bakersfield maybe a couple weeks ago to do a clinic. Dude, I think it's a super cool sport. It's a little bit funky because you don't necessarily need to have control in order to score points.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, I think, for people that predominantly do folk style to kind of get used to that. But
yeah,
I like it. I think it's super cool, and it's fun. The tournament vibe is different. It almost feels like I mean, obviously you were there, you competed, but it's kind of like a party. They play music, there's people.
That's what I'm saying. It's super lighthearted, and afterwards, at least for us, it's a UWW sanctioned event, so all the athletes are staying in the same hotel. There was a social gathering together, and these people that kicking the crap at each other, dapping each other up. They're all like, "Hey man, what up?" And in their different countries, languages and whatnot. I'm like, no way, this is sick. I could never imagine after some big tournament being like, "Oh hey man, that was what's up?" And there was it was so cool.
So Brian, back when I was probably Hunter's age, in college and stuff, we used to go to Santa Cruz. And even back then, before it became a worldwide sport, because the origins come from Africa, UWU wanted to promote, other folk style events around the world, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
We used to have competitions out there on the beach, and we used to say, man, it'd be cool if we had beach wrestling. This is way back in the when. I would have done it, but I'm well too old now.
We called it so I lived in Santa Cruz for a good while. We called it San Greco.
San Greco?
Yeah, yeah, basically what it is.
But it would be like kind of like where the tide, like where the water is, where the water line. So like part of the strategy would be on the land side and not in the water side, so you can move a little bit easier.
Hit a soup at the water.
Not in beach wrestling though. Like it's flat. There's a circle. But yeah, man, I think it's super cool. I wonder, like I was talking about this with Timmy and a couple other people. Do you guys think like this would ever be something that would be done at like Fargo, or like something that would get to be a little bit more popular, where it would be kind of be done a little bit more by high schoolers and by other college people?
I heard last year that actually it wasn't like Fargo, but like a USA like division or something like that. But like there was a beach wrestling event at Fargo, like during like at the same time, like in the same area.
That's what it was. Yeah,
maybe to like raise like awareness or get some attention, stuff like that. But I think it'd be sick. I mean, it definitely. I mean, it's tough to like try to like think of it as something to ever be sanctioned, because like, not every high school has like beaches or around them, or like sand, and like, with wrestling being a winter sport, it's hard to go hop in the sand like at Iowa City West High, where we have 3 feet of snow. You can snow wrestling at that point, but
it's snow wrestling.
Yeah, there you go. But that'd be super cool, because like any way that wrestling can get more popular and people can find something more fun about wrestling, because I think as a spectator, like beach wrestling can really be a spectator sport, because it's quick, it's fun, like it's fun, and crazy stuff happens. I mean, it's not hard to understand. I mean, you see people who like are like not that successful in wrestling, like who don't even know what's going on. They're going out there winning the beach series, and it's like, holy smokes, like it's like the most like kind of inviting chapter of wrestling, I think.
So I got a question for you. Back in the day when I was in high school, back in the early 80s, we used to say, well, if you wrestle freestyle or Greco, it's going to help you with collegiate. You're going to learn balance and position, better position, not being on your back. If you had to say beach wrestling, what is beach wrestling? What have you learned in beach wrestling that helps you, whether it's in Greco or collegiate level wrestling? Is there anything? Because there's limitations, or there's some. It's a little more difficult because of balance, because you're on the sand moving
around. Definitely. I think I haven't done a whole lot of beach wrestling, but like when I look at it, it definitely complements, like they all I mean, I'll just count that as a fourth style. They all complement each other in different ways. And I think beach wrestling, it might not help the most with folk style, but it does the same time in the way that like, you have to hold position without like stalling, and like, because they'll pass you real quick, and then like it's only 3 points, and so like I think the thing I learned most was or that I can put towards it is kind of just like holding position and like moving forward with like you said, like a balance with control, because you can't just go forward and get tossed, oh shoot, match is over. Like just having control and like trying to hold the center.
So what is the diameter of the circle in beach wrestling? How many feet?
I don't know, maybe
6 feet. I don't know. It's not that.
It's not. I know it's smaller than like a college circle.
Way smaller than a college circle. Probably like trying to imagine. It's like I'd say 10 feet.
10 feet. Okay.
That's
so
not
that helps in Greco and positioning and balance where you're at. Now that's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Definitely good for Greco.
Oh yeah.
I love your style of wrestling. I think it's interesting. Like people get to your legs, dude, and it's like that's probably one of the most dangerous places they can be. Like if their hips get a little bit far out, and then you just launch them. Where does that come from?
First of all, I was like, that's an awesome sentence. Like, I love your style of wrestling, man. Like, everyone just gets to your legs.
No, that's not what I meant.
I'm kidding. No, I love it comes from I'll be honest, like it comes from the secrets of big game wrestling club back home, Iowa City. The guys over there, Dylan, that guy's a mastermind. And he's helped us with helped showing us all the secrets. A lot of them that have really helped me out with my style, because you know, you grow up wrestling thinking like, don't let people touch your legs. You know, all this super basic stuff or like fundamental stuff. Not that we don't use that still, but then we start. He helped me really kind of add that funky aspect that I've hopefully I can represent well and uh, just do cool stuff like what you just kind of said, trying to, you know, use their own weapons against them and letting them feel comfortable being on my legs and be like, you know, uh, putting them somewhere they're not comfortable.
Well, there was a match at U23s where like I think it was earlier on. Somebody got to your like a double leg and you end up like I'm not sure if you went to your butt first or whatever, but you end up rolling them through, end up on top of them. Like, dude, like you went from like not in good position to all of a sudden you're on top of them and holding them on their back. I think it's what's cool about wrestling is I think it's a reflection of who you are. And not only is it a fight, but it's also a way to be creative. And I think the way that you're able to put scores together, especially in neutral, it's like, dude, you're just having fun and being creative. And that's like, I don't know, that's trending right now. You look at the best wrestlers in the country and best wrestlers in the world. There's people that go out and they have fun and just trying to kind of show and what they do.
Thank you. Well, I love it. Yeah, that's what's made wrestling fun for me, especially at U23s and like NCAAs and like Pan Ams, kind of like just trying to have fun, and that's what makes practice more fun now. Like, you know, so I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it's able to be seen from the outside in, because that's my main. So I try to get my mindset. I just like, you know, I love this sport. I don't do it for, you know, it's not a 9 to 5 or I'm paid hourly. You know, I just love doing it.
Yeah, because
During the college season, you had some ups and downs, and I think with that kind of style that you utilize, it there is some risk that comes with it. I guess how do you mentally kind of stay in it and I don't want to say double down because there's always fundamentals you got to work on and stuff like that with everybody at every level. But how is that something that you've kind of been able to stay positive and stick with it throughout the year this past college season?
Well, I mean, uh, I'm really big in the faith, and so that's the foundation of any sort of mentality for me or any sort of like kind of starting point, like how do you do it or anything like that. It's not me, it's God for sure, and I've been blessed to be able to have the resources that I've been given. I always say it comes from Him, like in the great coaches and in the program itself, but what helped a lot this season was kind of trusting. That was the biggest thing. Like I think I had a really good start at CKLV, and then kind of after that just went downhill. Had a real rocky mid season, and then kind of uh, just wasn't. That's the story. I wasn't having fun in my wrestling. Like I win matches, but I'm winning them 5-4 overtime. Just, you know, right when I step out the mat, I'm sitting here like I'm like, man, I can't wait to get off. I can't wait to hopefully win and just be done with it. Yeah. Um, but I was really helped out by my coaches. We had a brand new coaching staff this year, and I wasn't as close to them because you know, I just didn't have that. I'd already been in college for a year, don't have much of a relationship with them, but I really developed that relationship with them as the year went on, and it got a lot more personal with them, and it got to a point where after Pac-12s, I lost in the finals of Pac-12s, and Coach Gray comes up to me and like says like, "Hey man, I'm saying this because I love you, and I know you need to hear it. But like you're good, and you have a gift. Like you have a God-given talent of wrestling. Like I'm sitting here like watching you look good in the room, and like kick butt, blah blah blah, and like you're doing all the things right. And it's like, and he's like, but don't waste this talent. Like it's like, again, like you have a God-given talent, like, and don't waste it out there by losing the kids that you shouldn't lose to. And one thing that really helped me was like, he's like, you have no reason to put pressure on yourself. Like you're not there. Like you're not like good enough to say that. And I'm like, wow, like that felt good. Like it was true. Like there was no bitterness. And not like you're not good, but like you know, you're not an All-American, you're not a national champ. You don't have any of these accolades or any of these things to give you any sort of reason to put pressure on yourself. It's like, hey, like why would I be scared out there? So then after that tournament, we had NCAA's a week and a half later, and I think the next day I went up to him And I had realized, I was like, okay, I've trusted my trainers, trusted, lifting, trusted or kind of Preston, and trusted all these people, my teammates, the program, school. I'm like, I haven't done that to my coaches yet. And so when I went up to Gray, and a couple of guys and like the staff, and was like, hey, like, I realized this, and you say jump, I'll say how high. And ever since then, I feel like um, it's gone up. I've felt myself like mentally go up levels, because it's like, I'm an athlete. I'm here as an athlete. I'm not my own coach. Like, these guys are coaches for a reason. They got brought here for a reason. It's like, let the coaches coach. And so that's kind of where the doubling down part, like, that's where, like, all right, like, with my faith, I'm like, all right, God, like, you have me here for a reason. Like, you give me these people for a reason. Like, why not let them be here for the purpose that they're here? And so I went to NCAA's, didn't know what to expect, didn't expect anything of myself. I'm just like, all right, I'm the 20th seed. I'm not supposed to make it to like day 2 or whatever. Like, that's when it became fun, because like, not just that, but like just being like, who cares? Like, it's wrestling. This isn't gonna be with like, I'm not gonna mention this in 60 years. Be like, oh, blah blah. Like, I'm have fun in the moment, and then trusting my coaches. They worked hard for me. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put this work in for them, and we ended up being an All-American at that tournament, and it was just awesome, because I felt myself just kind of unlock in a way. I was like, no more pressure, no more, these mental like blockages. It's like I was able to go out there and have fun. I was able to go out there and like you said, double down and kind of have a good mentality. Trusting my coaches, trusting my training, and trusting all these things, kind of not being scared anymore, and just being free of all things.
Dude,
So
I
Hunter,
love.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the unlocking of Hunter Garvin, man. That's a great way to put it.
I was going to say, Hunter, I mean, I look at your accolades in high school. You did very well in the tough state of Iowa. In Fargo, you're doing, looks like primary Greco. Is that your, obviously that seems like your favorite style per se. You placed at each, 16U, juniors, now U23. You have your Stanford goals, and you have your goals in Greco. Do you, obviously you want to go to that next level in the Division I, which in my opinion is probably one of the toughest tournaments in the world, college wrestling Division I. But do you have any aspirations of maybe going to the Olympic level someday, 2028?
I'm not sure. I always say it's a while away, and I'm like, always like, when I'm asked those types of questions, like, just wherever God wants me. If I'm given the opportunity to do that, that'd be awesome. If I'm put in the workforce, like opportunity to workforce, opportunity to coach, I have no idea what the future holds. But after this year, making, fortunate enough to make a Greco World team, um, why not? That'd be cool. It's like, why not do that if I can?
That's why I asked that question, because each level you've improved, and now you're at that level right there, and it sort of opens that door of
Yeah,
possibilities. So, but still,
exactly.
you have a lot ahead of you in at Stanford as well. So,
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when 2028 comes, see how we're feeling.
yeah.
But after this last couple months, being able to do that, or the performance I had and the way I felt at U23, it's like, why not? Maybe.
Well,
No,
I know, like, people, especially when you get to international wrestling, a lot of times it's like towards the tail end of your college career where you really start to take that kind of next step into trying to make world and Olympic teams, and obviously, you're on the U23, world team. That's pretty awesome. Um, but it's like you kind of don't know how you're going to be feeling. Maybe when you get done competing. I remember being, maybe my second year of college, and I was like, you know what? Like, I think I could do MMA. Like, I think I could do UFC stuff. And then I got to the end, and I was like, dude, I do not want to do that. Like, that ship has sailed. Like, I have no desire to do that. I wanted to get right into coaching and teaching.
Yeah.
But and you just finished your second year of school, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, you don't have your life figured out yet? What the heck, man?
Exactly. It's like,
You're supposed to know.
go with the flow,
This,
Garvin.
there you go. Yeah,
yeah.
that's I love it. I just, one day at a time, just go with the flow, baby.
When I wanted to talk a little bit more when you're at the national tournament, dude. how hard is putting those 3 days of competition together?
It's actually pretty hard. But it's hard, but not hard at the same time. I mean, it's the fastest but slowest 3 days of the year, of the season, because you're always just focused on like sorry, you're always just kind of focused on you know like just what's next. Like you can't really focus on what's next. You have to focus on the now, like making weight, going like fueling right, one match. You can't like, especially for me, like I can't look that far ahead. Like, oh, how many matches to All American? How many matches to blah blah blah? Who do I have in this round? Because like it's kind of be like just one match at a time, like one match at a time. But it wasn't that bad. I can't like it's very contradictory because I'm like it was hard, but it wasn't hard. It wasn't that bad because it's just I feel like I did a good job um living in the moment, just being like, all right, it's day one, this match, this match. I don't care how many matches I have today, just like one match at a time. And after match, doing the right things of fueling, and then just worry about all the other stuff later when it comes. Like it'll come. And then uh so I feel like for me, um, it wasn't that bad. But in the moment, it's kind of like it's a lot in the moment, but like like looking at it now, it's like it's not that bad. Um, I think. I'm sorry. I feel like it's like
No, you're
definitely
good, man.
like
Like
the answers.
I just like I'm looking back at your path, and it's like, dude, you beat Bianchi, who you wrestled before. You beat Hamilton from Virginia, who's like I think pretty tough.
Yeah.
Cerniglia from Navy, who's is pretty tough. Cam Amin in the blood rounds, like dude, like Peyton Hall. You made your decision, that guy. Like these are guys that are like blood rounds and like above like top 15, top 10, top 5 guys in the country. And I think like touching back earlier what you said, it just seems like you kind of just unlocked yourself. We do like a draft, really, like kind of like a pick 'em sort of, but we'll do it for the national tournament, and
March
we'll get like
Madness.
a group of buddies. Yeah. And you were on my list initially for dark horses, and then you lost
Hey.
Pat. But you lost Pac-12, so you weren't up. I took you off, dude. But I was like, dang it, like it's like one of those like I knew I should have picked Garvin, but then yeah, because I feel like with if you look at the styles, everybody that's in at your weight, like 165s, I think anybody can make a solid argument as one of the tougher weights this year. And dude, you're able to kind of come relatively out of nowhere per se, and be on the podium is pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun to be able to do that. And I guess being the dark horse, it was even more fun because, I wasn't supposed to be there. Or according to, the stats and whatnot, I'm not supposed to be there. And it's cool to be able to do that stuff.
Well, that's why it goes
So,
back to faith, man. It's like believing in something that's unseen. From
Yeah.
if you're looking at it from a scholarly viewpoint, and it's like in athletics, you got to have faith in yourself. Because,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So,
so
Al,
I
you're
got
gonna
a,
say something? Go ahead.
yeah, I got a question. So Hunter, you're talking about preparation for the NCAs. Obviously, you wrestled at the state and national level at the, prep level. Now you're at the NCAs. What if you had to give advice, or what did you learn how to compartmentalize that whole process? Because it is 3 days of weigh-ins, the intensity, you can't look too far. What have you learned that you had to change mentally? I mean, we do physical training, but what have you learned? What insight have you gained about that process?
I think just like for me, and I think what I did is pretty universal, or like in like um I mean, everything's always easier said than done, but kind of just
Mhm.
trusting. Like like Brian said, uh, trusting in yourself, trusting in like, for me, trusting in God, like knowing that I have these abilities, I'm put here for a reason. Like, I'm here at this tournament for a reason. Trusting that and trusting your coaches. I feel like trusting, just a lot of trust, a lot of faith, trusting
Mhm.
your coaches and just doing things. Um, yeah, trusting your coaches because they really help me. Like, hey, what do I eat? What should I eat? You know, from eating the right things after, eating the right things before, getting a right warm up, taking a cold shower in between sessions when you go back to the hotel. Um, just that type of stuff, and that helps the tournament go by. way smoother because you know you're doing the right things, like you know you're listening. And so for advice, that's what I'd say is trusting the process and
Mhm.
trusting your coaches and just trusting and just like kind of listening to the people who are there for you because I mean they're not um they're there for you. I mean, they want to be here, and it's like, why not let them do their job? Why not let them why not let them help you? And so it's like trusting that, and that's I feel like that's where I've had the most success and kind of pressing into them and letting them press into me.
Yeah,
I
because
can't
I've
wait
been to
to.
the NCAAs, right? And you see guys hard match, they're running right off the mat, go back in the room, ride the bike because they got to make weight. Then after that session, no other sports like that, and it's intense and to keep your mental mindset going.
No,
So I
100%.
commend you for that achievement. I know you want more, but that's a good solid start.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, less than
I
1%. Yeah, sorry, Brian.
No, no, you're good. I think kind of touching on what you said, Al. I think like yeah, it's like you kind of build this routine where it's like I'm gonna go back and it's so hard. So like what you said, your coach, you're telling like go back and take a shower, like go back and relax. It's like sometimes kids just like, especially at state, California State, it's 3 days. Kids just want to go and they want to sit. And it's like, dude, get out of the arena. Like when you get a chance to get out of here, get out. Like we brought a trailer in the parking lot so you could go and sit and be out. But yeah, I think the trust in your coach's part as a coach, I love hearing that. I
No.
can't wait to clip it and then send it to our kids and our parents.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's especially after this year. I mean, that's what I went back to tell um the guys at Big Game after I went home right after NCAA's and said, say something. I was like, guys, like, because I was pretty immature. I wasn't that immature, but I was pretty like, at times I was like, man, why am I doing this? Blah blah blah. Like me and Dylan would butt heads sometimes. But I feel like I did a good job even then, listening to him and trusting him, knowing like, all right, this guy's my coach for a reason. Like, I'm gonna trust him. And like that's one thing I went back and said to them. It's like, guys, like, trust this dude. Like, you need proof, like, not like I say in the most humbling, meekly way, but like, look at me. Like, I came from this program and like I'm X, Y, and Z now. Like, listen to this guy, and so that's cool hopefully that speaks to them. Be like, okay, well, listen to Coach Brian now.
Well,
Yeah,
it's like
because
you kind of have to go through it and like see for yourself, I
You're
think,
like,
before you
oh,
really appreciate the knowledge. It's like knowledge and experience equals wisdom. It's like, what I mean, it's like what you said. It's like, why am I doing this?
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
yeah.
no, I was going to say I've been coaching for like 40 years too. I also coach and I try to explain to kids, cadet excellence doesn't equate to being a junior stud, and being great at junior level doesn't equate to, doing well at college. You have to adapt at each level. The average person doesn't realize what it takes to place at the NCAA tournament. You got 250,000 kids that wrestle in high school in this country. 1 point something% go to Division 1. Of the ones that go D1 or D2, a fraction of that. I don't know what the exact math is. I'd have to see the numbers, but I think the chances of probability of placing the NCAAs is like 0.00 whatever, and it's hard and to maintain that. So but that tempo is plus you're going to Stanford, which adds a whole nother layer of academic excellence. So no, you're on the right track, and I think you got the what it takes to get to that next step. Beyond what you did last year. So keep it
Thank
up.
thank you so much. I'm hopefully I can keep going.
Hmm.
Right step, like you said.
Yeah.
Al made me think about this question. I was going to talk about, how do you balance the freestyle and Greco training leading up to U23 Nationals? And then I was like, well, he does go to Stanford, like you are at a big like academic school. You're probably used to balancing things and time management, right?
Yeah, yeah, no. Yeah, definitely. Because during the season, I feel like it might be a lot easier to it's a lot easier to balance things during the season because it's season, like it's collegiate season. You know that winter for us we're a quarter system. Winter quarter, you take lighter classes or you take classes that you know with the thought that okay, I leave like every weekend, something like that. With free
Mhm.
sports, that spring quarter for us, like I think all right, I'll take harder classes, take more units. because I'm not gonna be doing as much. But those things like the U23 sneaks up on you. It's a whole week of like being gone basically, and like but managing that was it was good. It was easy. Because you just keep it in mind that that's what you got. You do what you got to do academically from the academic standpoint. And made it easier because like a lot of my buddies a lot of us that went to U23s, or some of us in the same classes.
Nice.
And so yeah, it's easy to like do it together. And like even the hard stuff together, like the practices, the workouts and whatnot. And managing freestyle and Greco. I don't know. I just honestly trained. I just trained the same way. Honestly, get to I don't know. Like I don't think of it when you ask me that question. I don't really think of it like how do I manage this? Like I don't know. I just kept doing like nothing really changed. Just like the standing a little straighter up for Greco, and then just not exposing myself to freestyle. So it's not a lot changed with the practices and whatnot. Um, definitely little things like being more aware of like scrambling, and being more aware of just like the out of bounds line and stuff like that. Trying to grab guys that trying to push myself if maybe even harder, because I know that like we're not as sanctioned, we're not as like sanctioned in like during like the spring quarter with like competitions every weekend. Um like not everyone does freestyle and Greco. Not like I don't like I was the only one from Stanford that did Greco at a U23, so a little bit challenging to train for that, but it was still like I don't know, I felt like the preparation was very easily manageable and honestly really good for U23s.
Did they? I mean, who are you training Greco with at Stanford? Was it just your teammates, or do they have? Is there somebody that's around that's pretty knowledgeable when it comes to Greco?
Well, if you looked at my corner at U23s, I had my Greco technicians, Pat Brucky and Chris Ayers in the corner.
Yeah.
But I went with Brucky. Brucky helped me with that a lot because if you look at him, his arms are the size of tree trunks. And so he helped me. He helped work with hand fighting with me a good amount, and had a worked with Tyler Eichens a little bit too. He came and visited for a week, and he's a Greco guy from Stanford, and so he's helping me out a little bit, kind of picking up little things from different people in the room, just kind of getting different feels, and honestly, like with no one doing Greco, it was a fun challenge to like wrestle freestyle, but like have a little bit of a Greco mindset, and like you know lifts and just positioning and whatnot, like because you're still gonna hand fight in freestyle, but then when I'm like kind of hyper focusing on hand fighting from a freestyle perspective, like it honestly kind of helps, because it's like this guy's gonna try to like hit a shot, take me down, touch my legs and whatnot. Like what can I do to like keep him from not doing that? Because it's honestly it's honestly more of a challenge to hand fight someone in freestyle than it is in Greco, I would think, or if you understand
Yeah.
the way I'm saying it.
Well, because I mean, Greco, you're like you keep your elbows in. Everybody's looking for drags. You don't want to get extended with your arms. Freestyle, I'm trying to think of maybe some of the differences. Yeah, I mean, somebody gets an inside tie, you're probably gonna thumb block, or just do different things that obviously you wouldn't necessarily do in Greco. So that'd maybe be some of the bigger differences, but conceptually, it's kind of the same.
Yeah. It's fun. That's all I know. It's fun.
Yeah, it's
I
like
enjoy doing it.
So I got a question. So Hunter, I mean, you're wrestling collegiate style. Obviously, stance, motion, positions a lot different in collegiate than is in Greco. When you're wrestling a collegiate level match, what round does things change a little bit? Where if you had to use Greco, it's more open. Is it more like in the third round when people are tired, or do you even use any of your Greco? Because you rarely see a lateral or head and arm.
Honestly, whenever it's available, like
Whenever it's available, usually a third round.
uh, if it's third period, if it's first, I mean, I can't be. I'm never like, okay, it's third period, like time to like look
Yeah.
for throws, unless I'm like down, which hopefully I'm not. But kind of just like whatever happens. I try to never throw it. Like I always think like basic then dangerous. Um, and
I'm gonna quote that. I need to write that down. Basic then dangerous.
You can say basic then dangerous. Like, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. That's what 'cause I used to be in high school. Like, every high school goes to that phase of like, oh, I need to like score big points, I need to throw. And Dylan actually helped me a lot with that was his quote. Basic then dangerous. I'm like, all right, like that's true. And so but there's a lot of times where like I'll get on a shot and people will pull me up and I'm like really comfortable there. So it's like if that's where like that's where I say like whenever it's available. Like if that happens to me, it's like, it happens. It's there.
Yeah.
We gotta make a Hunter Garvin shirt with basic then dangerous underneath it.
There you go. I love that. Heck yeah.
Well, you just had a NIL deal. Is it oh man, is it Jay's Auto? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Jay's Auto in Manchester, Iowa.
Dude, maybe I don't know. Maybe you gotta let them know, like, hey, like if this is like the next part, like make a shirt and
Make
then
a
like
shirt.
yeah, basic then dangerous on it.
That'd be awesome. I like that. I like that idea.
I feel like I don't see too many people that actually use NIL like the way it's, I think intended to be, where they're actually like, using your name, image, and likeness to sell a product or market. And maybe it's just, I don't see it. Maybe it is out there. I guess like what was your process like to kind of getting that kind of deal? And I don't know, what are your thoughts overall, I guess, with NIL from an athlete perspective?
NIL is crazy. It's kind of a curse, or I don't want to say curse. It's kind of a
That's actually a good word.
yeah, okay, fine. It's honestly a curse in the collegiate level, not just with wrestling, but with all sports. Like it definitely, I mean, as someone who's like been able to use it, I love it. I think it's cool, like for like to be able to make money for like to be able to give athletes an opportunity to make money because being able to see it like in first person view. College is expensive, you know, food, gas, clothes, all that stuff is expensive. And being able to have the opportunity to like, you know, be able to not only pay for those, but then have some extra is like super cool. But I think that like the pros and cons of NIL, there's a lot more cons because then it takes like it's like the difference between NFL football and college football. I love watching college football because these people are playing like for heart, like they have heart when they're playing because they're playing for, the colors that they're wearing. NFL, I feel like they're just playing for the paycheck that they get at the end of the year. And that's what I mean, I hope not. I don't want to see wrestling turn into that, but that's where I see it happening in the college realm. Like people transfer all over just to go to these huge Power Five schools or like these huge well-funded schools because of money. And like you said, it's not because of like the NIL I have was with a really close friends. Like Solomon Hines is the owner of Jay's Auto, and he was very gracious and kind to partner with me. And I'm super excited and blessed to be on that team. Jay's Auto, it'd be like a Jay's Auto athlete and stuff like that. But I'm not in it for I know him, I know them personally, like. And I think I think that's like a really good way to go. It's like when you have some sort of connection with whatever you're doing, like I'm not gonna go like if a drug company like cigarette like Marlboro offers me $100,000, like that's not worth it. Like because like I genuinely don't support that. I don't want to wear some cigarette packs on my back. Like represent that. It's about I think NIL is like I'll go back to where I just think it's kind of a curse thing because yeah, it helps athletes make money, but it kind of is just has taken away a huge part of like what collegiate sports is all about, which is like, you commit to a college and you go, you know, compete for that college and that university. And that's your home. Like that's your place. That's your tribe. Those are your people. And like, I think the reasons behind your doings, like if it's just for money, it's like, you're just there to get paid. And I think that's where the
It's
curse.
shallow,
Yeah,
like it's shallow.
100%.
And I totally get the argument. It's like people want, because dude, it sucks being in college and not having a lot of money,
Yeah, for
but
real.
Imagine,
Imagine moving from Iowa to California, get used to the prices and all that.
oh yeah, well, yeah. I lived in Illinois until I was in seventh grade, but I wasn't really like aware of like how much things cost when I was in Illinois. So, but I think like with what you're talking about with the professionalism, it's I think about I'm trying to think of the name of the movie with Jimmy Fallon. It's Fever Pitch, and he's like obsessed with the Red Sox. And they end up going to a bar, and the Red Sox had just lost, and they're all depressed. Like him and his buddies are drinking at the bar, and they're just like, "Man, we suck." We suck. Like they're on the team, and they look over, and there's like Johnny Damon and like a couple other guys just chilling and laughing like over in the corner. Like, what the heck? Like we just lost, so those guys are like, like laughing. And I think with that's kind of truth to some extent. It's like, yeah, these guys want to win, but it's like it's also their job. And I think when it becomes your job, it's like, man, it would be super cool to get paid to podcast, but like, I don't know, like it would just turn it into something different than what it is right now. And I like what I do right now.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I think that's super cool, and I think that's how it always should be. Like that's the point of sports. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to get paid. Like it's cool when like the idea. It's cool to get paid for doing something you love, but then once that kind of when you start doing something not just because you love it, but because you're getting paid, it turns into it turns into a, I don't know, it kind of takes away the joy, it takes away the reasoning behind why you're doing it.
It's like they don't have enough parameters to work by, right? They sort of left it out there. I got a question going back to Greco's. So when I was your age growing up, I had my favorite wrestlers I looked up to. So, collegially, internationally in the United States, Dave Schultz was like, and he's from Palo Alto, actually. He went to Palo Alto High School, him and his brother Mark. Internationally, I looked up to like Buzavar Saitiev and Arsen Fazdayev and the Bela Glossovs. Who are your favorite wrestlers that you look up to? Like, wow, I like to do what they're doing, or you sort of mirror their style, whether it's Greco or.
Honestly, I don't really have like, I don't really have much kind of thing. Like, there's not like one person I'm like, oh, I love this guy.
Is there anybody that you maybe watched like recently?
Honestly, no. Like, I honestly don't watch wrestling a whole lot. Like, I'm
yeah, I get that, bro. Yeah.
This is the loop. I'm somewhere out here. Like, I don't like they're like everyone on the weekends, like, oh, did you see the UFC fights? I'm like, no. Like, oh, do you see, like, you hear about this tournament? I'm like, no. But I like I don't know, I kind of just like small things. Instead of like a lot of things from one person, like small things from different people. Like I think it was like one I think it's Musakayev. Like that's like one example is like he's got the guy's fast. He's so, I think it's so cool. He's super slow, he's chill, and then out of nowhere he's like ba ba ba, like, and then like
have you hit that like little bear crawl to like a sprint head outside or single leg?
I have not, but like I saw him do it. Sick. I'm like, that stuff's sick. And I like that type of stuff. Like, so I've never really been like oh, I love this guy, like blah blah blah. Like, it's kind of like, oh, I like what this guy does, like what this guy does.
Yeah. And that's why I bring it up, Hunter. I'm like, like John Smith, he started at low single and he revolutionized the sport, right? Dave Schultz was a happy-go-lucky guy, really friendly, get on the mat and just tear you apart. I like Ismail Muzakayev too. That guy is hitting. I mean, he looks like he looks like the guy on the yeah. I mean, this guy is so fast and quick and dynamic. It's hard not to. I think what he's doing, a lot of people are starting to copy, and that's why I was asking that question. Is some wrestlers they have something that like, wow, I want to do that, right? They're very innovative and up to speed. So that's
don't
cool.
get tired though if you're trying to wrestle like Muzakayev. You're not allowed to get tired.
Oh, that dude's a stud, dude.
He gets tired. He gasses out.
Well, I think it's cool because I think I've watched him a couple times. Like, he like lulls you at the beginning and then like gets you like, oh, it's like already tired. And then he's like just fires away, and then that ends the match right there.
Well, if you like one trick that I learned is when you get older and you're wrestling with people, there's one advantage that you have being the older guy, and that's like you start like start acting like you're tired, and then when they start coming out of position a little bit, that's when you're like, I'm actually not tired. I wasn't tired the whole time, but I rarely actually do that. So I want to talk about some recent stuff. So when you win U23s for freestyle, obviously the way that freestyle wrestling works in determining who's the representative at which weight and what age group. Messenbrink, because he had placed that senior national or the senior world Olympic trials, was able to then take that spot if you want it. Is that something that you were like aware of? Like that was a possibility? Do you think that was going to happen, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I knew it. I saw that he made the national team, and so I knew that like 74 was most likely not going to be a not going to be a not going to be able to make the world team. That's actually why I really wanted to do Greco too. Because we had a conversation, like I thought, like, well, I really like, what's the point? Because I don't want to wrestle 79, because I'm like, that's not like my competition weight. I'm a 65 pounder. So I like met with the coaches and like talked to coaching back home. It was like, like I love Greco. It's like maybe I'll go. Like, what if I just put all my focus into Greco and go 72 kilos? And they're like, yeah, like you don't want to do that. Like that's gonna stink. And I'm really glad I didn't after that weekend. But just like knowing that he's not gonna, and then there's a thought like, all right, what if I only go there and wrestle freestyle and try to go 79, because that's a world team spot right there. But it's like, no, it's like you want to stay at your competition weight, and like because I could wrestle whoever I wrestled at U23s. I could see those guys in college, and so it kind of honestly benefited me, because then it let me wrestle Greco. Because like the original plan was like, all right, if 74 is available, like we're gonna go all in for 74. And like said, since it wasn't, it's like, all right, so like I want to do Greco still. So then went 77 for Greco, and then it's funny, I honestly didn't really care about freestyle. Like once I did Greco, I was like, man, like I was there so many times, like I want to be like, man, I could just call him and be like, maybe I don't wrestle Greco, or maybe I don't wrestle freestyle. Like, we made a world team for Greco. Like, don't really want to wrestle anymore freestyle. But then I'm glad I did, because it was actually, like I said, it's fun to wrestle, and it was fun to win. But that definitely is in my mind. I knew like once the tournament was over, I asked him like he took the spot, right? And like, yeah, it's like, okay. Like I wasn't too upset, because because I was already on the Greco team, thankfully. But yeah, I kind of knew going into the tournament that was like going to be a thing.
And the World Championships, they're in Albania, right? I'll say this. I don't have anything against Albania, but whenever I think of Albania, I think of the bad guys from Taken.
Really?
So I'm just saying, when you go over there, like be careful.
Yeah, no, it was super funny, because I had no idea where Worlds were. Like I found that out like after the tournament. And like my dad's like kind of like he's like, oh my gosh, you're going to Albania. Where the heck is Albania?
Right next to Croatia and Montenegro.
Yeah, so you're
North of
telling
Greece.
this to me. I just looked at a map today. I'm like, oh, it's somewhere in this area. I didn't even know it was
Today you looked
like today. Like, yeah, I still like don't know what countries around. Like I'm not.
like Greece.
North of Greece.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So
I'm not.
it's like north of Greece. Yeah, it's like Macedonia, Greece, Turkey.
Yeah.
Like it's in that
I
ballpark.
was just there, bro.
Yeah, so I have no idea. Like I just know now I know it's somewhere in Europe, like in the
Gosh dang it, Hunter! You
yeah.
got to know that. You're getting the
Oh,
Stanford education, man.
hey, I just figured out I was going to Columbia like a week ago. It's both the flow,
Yeah, dude, you're from Iowa, but you fit in with California.
Heck yeah, that's what we love. See, the hair is already coming. It's the longest I've ever had my hair. I learned to ride a skateboard this year. Next thing you know, surfing. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be hanging 10.
I feel like
Yeah.
surfers don't actually say that.
I think Coach Welch at San Francisco State, Jason Welch, is a surfer.
Really?
He
I think he used to run surf wrestling camps, wrestling and surfing at a camp.
Oh, hey, that's sick.
Yeah.
He would do one in Santa Cruz, and then he would do one in Tahoe.
That's sweet. I bet that's cool.
Yeah,
Dude,
check it out.
You gotta, yeah. If he still does them, that would be a cool guy to set up with. Obviously, if you're training and stuff, but if they did something in Santa Cruz, it's not that far away from Palo Alto.
Yeah, I know, it's like an hour drive, and it's super cool to go to Santa Cruz. It's the coach.
That's okay. Huh?
It's the coach from SF State, you said?
Yeah.
Yes,
Jason Welch.
Went to Northwestern.
Jason. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think I had his phone number. I'm not sure if I still do, But yeah, I can probably get it and send it to you.
I think I have it.
There you go.
Yeah,
You can
There
send
you
I
go.
think I have it.
What
See
are
if
you
I
what
can
are you
pull it.
studying at Stanford? Are you
Uh,
declared?
yeah, STS, which is Science, Technology, and Society.
Dude, so that's why you don't know where Albania is. You're a science guy.
Well, it's the closest thing to business we can get because we don't have a business undergraduate program, and so that's kind of it's a pretty universal major. I've been able to take pretty interesting classes and I think learn some cool stuff. Like took my first ever computer science class this year. Learned this code called Python. I learned it's more than just a snake. Um,
Oh, what is that? Is that like a security?
no, it's like the most um like commonly used code, or I think it is like it's the most like basic code. Like it's the type of code where it's like um you press your phone and it turns on. Like press button, like input, press button, return, like screen turns on. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Mhm.
type of, you know, if like there's this program called bit, like bit dot move, like and then it makes the little bit character move. Like if bit dot front not clear, like turn right and stuff like that. And it's super cool. It's super interesting and fascinating.
Do you have
Yep.
like a cheat sheet that you use like if you're trying to code or do anything like that, like something you have on the side? Because I feel like the hardest part would just be remembering all the different inputs.
Oh, it's so hard. Well, like for like our exams and for a midterm and our exam, they gave us like a reference sheet. Like, so it has little things um like helps us with like remembering things like how to input files. Like they don't give you all of it, but like they just kind of put the things. They put all the puzzle pieces there, and it's your job to be able to like you know use it to like
Yeah.
help do it because you get it's it's a lot. It's like confusing, but it's actually not as hard as you think it is.
Well,
Like.
because in real life, it's like you'll know like the fundamentals, but like the more complex stuff, it's like you're gonna look it up. Like, you
Oh,
know what I
for sure.
mean?
I mean, yeah,
It's the same thing with like anatomy. It's like I had a bunch of people. It's like, dude, they would fail anatomy the first time because there's so much stuff that you need to learn. It's super hard to get all that stuff down.
yeah, it's really hard. Like I asked my teammate who's really like huge into it and he's doing it for his job and whatnot. I'm like, dude, how do you do it? Like you are a coding whiz. And it's like, yeah, well, like you just like and he told me like, yeah, you Google like some stuff and you really need when you need help, like, you're not gonna be able to make a video game yourself. Like you have to like take different aspects from different things. Like you do look up things. I'm like, oh, okay, you're making it. Like I always thought like they make coding sound like these guys are like like doing it all themselves and stuff like that.
No, that would be way too much, man. I couldn't imagine putting a whole video game together and just like doing it completely from
Wow.
scratch.
Yeah.
Do you play like have you ever played like Madden or like 2K or anything like that?
Yeah. I played Madden before.
Dude, they just reuse pretty much the same code. I feel like every single time it's pretty much the same game.
Same code, absolutely. And like they just like add different like that coding's gotta be so confusing. Like that's like I don't even know what it is. Like there's so many different languages out there, but like that's when you're using like graphics and like it's more than just a like, you know, if this, return that, like if statements and whatnot.
Do you know how to like code like websites or anything like that?
Kind of. That's the last class I just took this spring. It's called like introduction to web design and stuff like that, like using HTML. It's that stuff so much harder. It's supposed to be the easiest classes, like one of the easier classes here at Stanford. And like that stuff is so hard. It ran me through the wall. But I understand like how to build a website and like there's like an HTML part, there's a CSS part, which is like kind of you're like behind the scenes and like then your presentation. Um, it takes a long time though. Like for me, I'm so slow with that, so like it takes a long time to understand. But I feel like with directions for sure, like on my own, like that'd be so hard. Like with directions, I can like be able to do that stuff. I think like with like assistance.
Yeah, for sure. When I was looking at your wall, dude, what do you have written on your wall right
I
now?
was thinking the same thing.
This actually isn't my this is so I'm at my brother's house right. I'm in San Diego. Um,
Oh,
I'm at
nice.
yeah, I'm at my brother's house right now, and I don't even know what's on the wall because like this might have even been here like when he got this house. But it just looks like a bunch of, well, I don't even know what it is. Like
It's probably not good. You don't have to share it then, because I can't see it.
yeah, you can, that's fine. I mean, it's nothing bad. Like there's nothing
It's
bad.
thoughts. It's thoughts for the day.
Like it
Philosophy.
needs
Well,
help.
I was thinking, I was like, dude, like if you're like in Palo Alto right now, maybe I don't know, this is like your room and you're renting. It's like, bro, you might not get your deposit back. You're gonna have to redo the paint on the wall.
It's
No,
a
no.
little paint.
Yeah, this is not mine. This is my brother's who lives in San Diego. I'm so I'm just visiting and this is kind of his office. Yeah, like I don't even know if that's his doings. So I just put the computer down. But yeah, no, there's nothing bad there. I don't
Yeah.
um, just words on a wall.
Dude, I worked
Well,
at the Lawrence Livermore National. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good. Go, Al.
I
You're
work.
good.
I live in Idaho, but I grew up in Livermore, California, in the Bay Area, and I worked at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and it's probably per capita has the most PhDs in the world and the world's fastest computer terascale. But I work with PhDs that in some of their labs they would write stuff on the wall, and you're like, dude, you can't write that. That is class. I mean, so they'd have to classify the whole room because they were writing their thoughts all over the wall. It's like you can't put that kind of stuff up on a wall because the sensitivity of it, but nonetheless,
Yeah, you
that's
got janitors coming in to like come in and clean that up, and
yeah. It's
now they
like you
have
can't be
access
putting
to
that
secret
kind of thought
information.
up there on the wall. That's it's classified or whatever. So yeah, but
All my brother's
nonetheless,
secrets or something like that.
no, writing their calculations or something up there, right? So that's cool.
Hunter, we've been going for about an hour, and I don't know. I think this has been super fun. Talking to you has been super cool, and I think that's why it feels like it's gone by fast. So I have a couple more questions before I let you go. One is with Greco. First, I want to clarify something. Is that your favorite style out of all of them that you've done?
And it's definitely my favorite. I love it so much. I've done it since I was a kid, and I do love it. It's fun. I would say it's my favorite style.
So with Greco, one of I guess the things that it's something that's hard, I think, for folk style wrestlers that we kind of grew up doing folk style freestyle. Greco is a little bit different. From your perspective, as somebody that's done beach, Greco, freestyle, folk style, you wrestle collegiately. How do we grow Greco? Like, are there any rule changes that we can do with it? Is there ways to market a little bit differently? How do we improve Greco in the United States? That's a big question, but from your
No,
just
no,
what are your thoughts?
it's a big question, but it's like I think the rules are fine. I think 6 minutes. I think that's awesome. 2 periods, 6 minutes. I honestly think it makes it even more interesting when people get put down um, uh, like when they do like the passivity in Greco. I think that's pretty. I think that's cool because like it forces action. It forces like someone's gonna most likely in Greco someone's about to get tossed or someone at least gets the opportunity to do that. But I think it comes from I think that question is like it comes from like effort from like wrestlers. And like I'm not gonna hate on anyone or anyone's style or anything like that, but like a lot of Greco, like at least from what I've been told, um, a lot of it comes from like or a lot of like Greco, like especially at the senior level, I guess, is like people think it's boring because it's just like 2-1 matches of like guys just pushing on each other and like just constant like pummeling and hand fighting and no one's like everyone's like really too scared to take a risk of like doing something cool or like I mean and in the sense of like building like wrestling like people like as a fan you want to see cool stuff like
Yeah,
basketball threes baseball you want to see a home run football you want to see touchdowns um and like Hail Mary stuff like that and like I think uh a lot of people are just too worried about winning or like too afraid to lose that they're not like they don't have the courage like I don't want to say courage again I don't want to say like nothing I'm saying is hating
yeah,
but
I get what you're saying.
like I feel like too many people in Greco are too afraid to lose or too afraid to not too worried about winning that they're not letting themselves like do what Greco's made for. I mean Greco's like you don't have to sprawl, you don't have to touch legs, like it's all upper body and like it's all like it's literally like like everyone talk when you think of Greco, you think like throwing and stuff like that. You don't think of like, snap down go behinds. Not saying that like that's not good, because like that still wins matches. But I think like to grow the sport, like it's like just not be afraid. Like that just comes from like a wrestlers, like the people who compete in the sports, like just having like, I always say like just having fun, like just throwing them, dude. Like just letting loose and not worrying about like losing, I guess.
You
But
got to take ownership of it. That's what you're saying. It's like we can complain about how come Greco's not getting more attention, but if you're somebody that practices Greco or you're a coach, it's like, dude, don't wait on the rules to change. Like, focus on you just trying to create like action, like try to score points. Like you said, that's what people want to see.
for sure,
Go for some of these big throws. Like, try something. Don't be afraid to fail.
yeah, 100%. Because like yeah, and I just think like for me, it's like in freestyle, you're not gonna have, you have like your opportunities of being able to like do cool stuff, or like taken away, like from a throwing perspective, because like you can grab legs, you can hook legs, whatnot stuff. So so it's like why not just do it in Greco, because you have that opportunity, like you just hold, like someone gets put down, if like say you get put down, like then you just gotta worry about defending, and then you gotta know like, all right, you're gonna get the opportunity, like they're gonna give you the opportunity to go on top next, and so it's like why not? I don't know. That's all I gotta say is like why not, I guess.
It would be
So
cool if they
Brian,
changed. Go ahead, Al.
no, I was good friends with Mark Halverson, who ran the Greco CYC. Got to see how he taught Greco. Good friends with Ivan Ivanov up here in Idaho at Suplis. And just listening to those guys, the difference between Greco and collegiate or freestyle is the physics, the tactics are so different. And to be successful at the international level, it's the physics is different. It's complex. If you listen to, you watch Yvonne or those guys train and what they do, it's very complex. It seems like all you're doing is throwing, but the tactics is so much different than collegiate. It's more complex than freestyle
Yeah.
because you're limited to what you can do.
Uh, yeah, no, I agree. And to go back to your question, Brian, like I just like of how to grow the sport of Greco wrestling is like do it. Like honestly, just like people,
Yeah.
no one like
Yes.
look at the brackets at U23. Like I don't know, like I thought like I went in there like because I wrestled U20s last year, and like you have an 8-man bracket at the World Team Trials, like 8 to 10, because like they condense it down to those who qualify. And then so going to the tournament, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna have like a 128-man bracket, because it's U23s, anyone and everyone can come. And it's like I was had a 32 man, and it's like dang, like that's like cool, like less like a smaller bracket, but like it stinks because like no one wants to do it. And like I think like once like high school, like that's one thing I love about like Big Game Wrestling Club. And like because once you get to high school, like at least like junior year, like kids start like focusing on freestyle. Like everyone thinks that wrestling's like Greco's like junk, or like it's like there's no point in doing it because no popularity. Like that mindset just like kind of tears down Greco. And in my opinion, I'll always stand by like so we kept so like big game, like we're always doing Greco, we're always doing freestyle, like we're doing both. And I'm honestly grateful for it too, because I feel like it's helped my freestyle, helped my folk style so much. And so like I think that's the number one thing to how do we grow the sport? Like just do it. I mean, when you're like a dad and you have your kid, like you're always gonna put them in both styles, because like why not? It's like why should that change like when they're older? Because like there's nothing you like there's no pain. It's not gonna hurt your wrestling if you wrestle an extra day of a style that you're not like might not be better at, but like that's how you learn. And like I think that's how you get better, and that's how it's a win-win for everyone, because like that's how the sport grows, like more popularity, like more people doing it.
And for high schoolers, it's like for a lot of them, dude, you need matches in the spring and summer. Go
Yeah.
do Greco. Go to these tournaments where it's like, all right, if I do freestyle, I might get 4 or 5. If you do Greco, you might get 3 or 4 more. It's
Yeah.
like, dude,
And
go do it.
if you're at like, the bell like for us with like the bell plane freestyle and Greco tournament, like why not do both styles? It's the same day. I mean, it's just you show up an hour or 2 hours earlier. Like why not? Like why would you like I feel like it's super like kind of like, oh, I'm only gonna do freestyle. Like, come on, man. Like it's fun. Like, but I'll always say it because like I love Greco, but I think like yeah, I think I'll always now that I think that question, like that's the way to grow the sport. Just kind of same with freestyle too. Like you see a lot of like guys just doing like seasonal wrestling. It's like why not do that stuff? Like it helps. It's like it's a win-win.
When you think about, I guess all the different events that you've been at, and you've been at a lot. Like who's number one? Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic, state tournament, U23 Nationals, NCAA's, Pan Ams, and now you're gonna be at the World Championships. Which event would you say was your favorite to participate in? Why?
NCAA is 100% because I mean I went I went my senior year to watch it, and it was so cool. Like I'm sitting there and I'm in the stands, but like I'm getting so hyped. I'm like, no way. Like imagine like just being like, I want to be that guy. I want to do these things. Like I want to because you watch the blood round matches in the stands and like, the quarters, like watching people all American. Um in that moment I took it, I didn't think it like I always thought like, everybody all Americans are like if the national title is the hardest one to win. But like so, and then when I was able to compete in it, or no, first off, going through the season, I was like, okay, it's a lot harder to qualify. This year I was like, all right,
Yeah, it's hard, man.
uh, especially like being in the Pac-12 because we didn't have that many allocations. Um, and I was like, all right. And then once I got there, wrestling the tournament, it's so cool. I mean, it's so cool from like a school standpoint because like I'm wearing the Stanford S on my chest. Like that's freaking cool. And like you're able to like be there in wrestling like with these guys who have been with you the whole season, like your teammates and your coaches. I mean, um, I think that's the coolest tournament that I've ever participated at, and like just like I was thinking about today, like just like um my the blood round match, like just when after the whistle blew, like the last whistle was like it was just it's like one of the like the best one of the like highlights of my life. Like one of the best moments is right there, just because like the emotion that's there. Like I remember like I just like ran to my coaches, like hugged them, and I was like, no way! Like it was so hyped, and like seeing like my parents like be able to go there because growing up I was always at home watching it. Like you just see it on TV, you think, oh, that's cool, but then like the atmosphere there is so awesome. I mean, just top to bottom, it's such a cool tournament.
All right, I gotta go, man. I never qualified in college, and it's like I've been putting off going, but it's time to go. So next year I'm going. Hopefully, I'm gonna watch you win a national title, dude. So,
That's the goal.
all right, man.
Hey, Brian, real quick,
Allie,
here's a
got anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Before we go off, of the programs in the United States, there's about 2,400 wrestlers, I think, in Division One, maybe more, maybe it's all. With 80 kids, it's less than 0.03% place, so pretty good. Don't quote me on that because I have to go back and validate some of those numbers. But no, I wish you the best of luck, Hunter. I'm a fan. I hope you succeed and do what you want to achieve and have fun. You have the right attitude, and we need more of that. So keep it up.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm really, again, I'm sorry that it's got put off so much, but I'm super glad. Like this is fun. Like I didn't realize it was an hour and an hour past already. This is super cool. I love talking to you guys, and again, yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show.